I'm Brandon.
And I'm Jesse.
We're Cannabis School. Having cannabis-infused conversations
With everyday people,
cannabis companies,
celebrities,
and your mom.
welcome
To the sesh.
Hey,
That's not hay, bro.
this is
That's a
awesome.
squash.
Yeah, Brandon grew this, and with no pesticides,
Nope.
some really cool green thumb shit, and it's spaghetti squash, and I'm super freaking stoked. I've never had this before, but I love squash.
Oh,
So-
you've never had spaghetti squash?
No, I've only seen it.
Oh, I only had it, I guess maybe it's been 8-9 years or something. But a buddy of mine moved out here, and we went and got those for going camping and made, tinfoil dinners with them.
Dude.
And it was fantastic, and that was the first time I had one. And then I haven't had one in years and years, and I found the seeds when I was planting my garden this spring and just threw them in the ground. So I think I've got 5 or 6 left.
Dude, these are awesome. These are
Yeah.
so awesome. So I'm excited. I'm going to make this for dinner tomorrow night. I got an event I'm going to tonight, but this is going to be super good. So thank you, dude.
Oh, you're certainly welcome. Yeah, I'm stoked. I have yet to cook one of mine. I had a lot of yellow squash this year from the garden, so that was nice.
Oh, yeah.
I love the yellow squash
Oh,
too.
dude.
I didn't have any zucchini that I planted, so it just
Did you
should
get
have a
that one
look.
from somebody else?
Yeah. My stepmom, her and my dad have a massive garden, and then they have a whole greenhouse too.
Oh,
So
dude.
yeah, are you tasting it already?
Yep. Petrichor.
Man.
Even more so. The last time we did it was from Flame.
Oh yeah, yeah we
And,
did, huh?
Dude, this is nice.
Oh.
Because somebody was trying to say, in the comments when we reviewed this, we're smoking on,
chlorophyll is what.
what he thought it was, but this is petrichor.
I think there might have been something that you had said in one of them that was it smells like chlorophyll or something. I don't remember if it was that
No,
same thing.
I corrected it because I said it was petrichor.
Oh, okay.
And because we
But-
looked it up. I'm like,
but he
it
is-
smells like this.
He is correct though. If
Oh, yeah.
if it is chlorophyll, that's usually because it's not usually cured properly to the right stages yet, and that's why you're smelling more chlorophyll in that. So,
Which would be
Yeah.
less efficacy of the plant. You're not going to be able to get
well, you
All-
just won't get the experience.
just
It's
won't get
not
the
cured
experience.
to where it should be at.
right. So it's not like something that's really bad for you. It's just you just were
It's just
impatient.
subpar flour. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's it wasn't where it should be yet.
Mids.
But if you let it sit and cure, you can continue to burp that flour and let it continue to cure to get it to the super optimal stage. Because I've been given flour that was crazy fresh, and they let me know, hey, don't smoke this for 3-4 weeks. You need to still burp it. So then I just continued to burp it until it was to the point that it was
Yeah.
ready to smoke. But yeah, there's
Cured like
Yeah.
meat.
Mhm.
It really has to be cured because
Oh, yeah.
you
'Cause
can't.
It smells fantastic on the plant when it's fresh, but then when you pick it or when you trim it or you dry it before it even goes through that stage, because you have to get it to a good curing process first, because otherwise you're left with just really terrible flour.
Well, and certain movies you remember that movie How High? Did you watch that finally?
I think so.
With Method Man and Red Man?
Oh yeah, yeah. Yeah, I
Fucking
did.
they gotta go take their THCs.
It was the funniest thing. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this show?
It was so funny, but the way he talks about he grows his weed in his house.
Oh,
You
that's
remember
cool.
that? And he's got
Yeah.
in his apartment, nobody's gonna fucking know. And then he just picks it right off the plant and then gives it to somebody you smoke this. So
Well, it was even
good
when
luck with that.
I met someone here in Utah, and he used to work at there's a store here in Utah apparently, and it's almost 100% dedicated to just cannabis growing. Sells grow lights, grow tents, all the stuff like that you would need to have a successful grow. And they've done that for years. And he was telling me how the wide range of people that would come in and buy grow stuff, and he realized it was doctors, lawyers, all sorts of people, all moms, dads, everyone here. And I mean, it's that homegrown that we got from the board member of the nonprofit. And it's cool. That happens too.
Yeah.
because it's just people who see it as medicine going, yeah, this is medicine. It benefits me for this, this, this.
Well,
And
it's like your garden.
apparently, well, yeah, but I'm not worried
It's
about spaghetti squash, but
no, but even that, like that's the way that I see it now. It's just it's something that I can consume that makes me healthy.
yeah,
I mean, legit. We're in smokeless September right now. I'm excited that you brought that up because I'm just like, yeah, why not? Like I know my lungs can take a break from all the smoke I've been inhaling. I could be a firefighter right now, no mask. As much as I've been smoking, and you might even notice that my voice is a little bit more deeper, and it's because of that. I've been smoking a lot more, and this is nice because I mean the coughing I'm getting from the terps,
yeah, and
and
maybe the heat.
yeah, and the heat. That's why I like cooled down bongs. Like
Yeah,
it's so nice.
it is a lot smoother, a lot nicer of a hit for
Yeah.
sure.
And you
Yeah,
still get the same effect. Yeah, you're going to lose certain things, but you do. You're going through water up a tube, through an ice cube.
yeah.
It's crazy if you think like in the
Or
science
even like
way.
warm water where it's steam and like there's all sorts of different
Totally.
ways. Yeah.
Yeah, but it ultimately, man, I see that as just as vital as and just as simplistic as
Well,
this
maybe now
squash.
since we look at it and the Schedule 3 is getting
Mm,
pushed back till after
of course.
the election, maybe it's a good time to push for not just Schedule 3 but homegrown. The
Yeah,
ability to have
homegrown.
medical homegrown for everyone across the country.
Yeah. And we'll see what happens if Trump's elected because he's saying over there on podcast that he's all for,
Well,
pushing
he's got
forward.
friends who use medical, but I swear that that's what he's always said. He's always been like, I've got friends who it benefits and they
Well,
use
and
this and that. And it's
the
like,
thing that changed was
you
his
know,
attorney general that he had in there. That guy was a fucking psycho. You look him up, he is a psycho. He's one of those like scary evangelical Christian dudes.
oh
Like,
yeah, those are
the
fun.
guy who said, "We're gonna blow COVID away."
Yeah.
And he's got those like creepy fucking demonic eyes. They're like almost white.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck, that's nuts. Like, how does that guy look at his woman and she's like, yeah. Like
With the
I think I'm
power of Christ.
yeah, yeah.
It compels you.
He's so ridiculous, but that's the kind of creepiness I felt. And if you're evangelical and you're listening to this and I offended you, I apologize. Smoke a blunt on me.
We love you too.
Yeah. But it just where the fuck was I going with that?
I have no idea.
Anyways, so Black Amber is awesome.
Oh, I'm rocking sour chills in the last one, but
Yeah,
I
yeah.
just warmed up some Black Hammer, so I'm excited.
This is really nice. So we when we're thinking about each one of these episodes, we try to be able to peel that onion of who we are a little bit as well every single time, not just things that we think about. And some of the things that we talk about is our unique childhood, right? What we lived in and during the eras that we grew up in. Brandon and I are about almost 10 years apart.
8?
8? Is it
I
8?
think we're
8 and
8.
a half? So we've got
8 years, 5 months.
yeah, we got about a good distance of time away from each other. So we grew up in very different times and we grew up in very different families. And the thing we're thinking about is, we'd love to hear more about you. So we'll keep sharing a lot about, what happened with us, where we grew up, some fun things that we've done in our lives, some real fucking hard things. Just because, you guys are a part of our little tribe here and you guys are everywhere. And we know you have unique experiences and how cannabis has kind of helped you come full circle and you're starting to feel a lot more comfortable with the day-to-day life that you have lived.
I mean, I'm just gonna go back. No one ever thinks that me consuming cannabis when they see me consume cannabis is the same person that the very first time I smoked had a brush and was brushing people's hair and their pants and shoved 100 pennies in my mouth. Like, no one would ever assume that that's the same person.
Well, and you mature throughout time of your cannabis use, and you can notice that because I had that discussion. We were having that discussion, I think, on the last podcast. We there's so many great things that this plant can do, and starting to be able to classify it in certain ways really helps. To be able to let you know that these specific strains are used for specific reasons, not just to get high. I understand if you're new into it or you're dealing with some shit, or you know, you you can't smoke weed anymore because the breathalyzer on your car that was started up for your fucking DUI and it was like your second one, you have to use your breath to get it started. Hey, weed's good, but it's not just good to get fucked up all the time. And I've realized that over time because I used to just use it to escape 100%. I was just like, nope.
Well, but that's because most of the time, at that moment in time, that's probably what you needed because of all the medications, because of everything in life.
Yeah.
It was like you weren't in the moment in the state to work on or figure out these things in life. You had to find a way to find some time to heal, to
Oh,
find the
yeah.
space to heal. And that takes time.
Well, in cannabis, especially when you're first getting into cannabis, if you can set that intention with it, you become very introspective, which means you become a little bit more self-aware each time. The only problem is that you only get it for that moment and then you keep going back. And that's where I can see how people start to bring addiction into it. And the reason why a lot of the reasons why I didn't want to use anything, especially cannabis, or anything back in the day was because I've watched one of my family members go through fucking almost 30 years of being addicted to street and
Yeah.
prescription drugs.
And that battle that they've had.
Oh, I mean, it's extremely difficult for them. Their life has been tumultuous to say the least. Horrible, tragic things have happened, and yet it's still this constant monkey on her back. And that's where a lot of those feelings that I had came from my upbringing. It wasn't, even though I'm a fairly religious person, and I am, yeah, I'm a lot different from what I was when I was younger. But I didn't grow up in the same culture you did, and I grew up in a very ostracized. We were the family where we weren't able to play with kids because we didn't go to the church.
Yeah. And
Uh,
I grew up on the other side of that of like, you can't go to their house.
yeah,
They can come here, you know, or like, probably not going to hang out with them. But I just, the only one that I remember hanging out with who wasn't really Mormon was the guy who, our backyards shared a fence when we were super young. And so we could play in his backyard, with him, and he could play in our backyard, and he could come over to our house, but we weren't really allowed in their house because their parents smoked, they drank, and our parents just didn't want us there.
yeah, and I that makes me that sucked because my family didn't do any of that.
Yeah.
My dad didn't. My mom didn't. Well, not openly. Just
But it
kidding,
was
mom.
just it was just that it's just that culture, that
Oh,
the
it is.
community that was bred here, and that was the hardest part for me when I left was like I've got kids and realizing how my family was, how all the people, like lots of people I knew were to those people who were outside of that. It was like, I'm sorry, I can't hang out with you. You're not Mormon.
Yeah.
And then it was like, okay, I could never date someone who's not Mormon.
Oh.
That wouldn't be a thing that happened. And so it's just like, it was how it was the whole community kind of
Yeah.
is there. And it sucks because you have really, really good people in the community, but are without the community.
Well, a lot of them don't have any identity, and if they ever realize that they don't have an identity, then they question their faith, and then they go, "All of this is a lie," and they leave. It's not because it's true; it's their faith. It's what they own. It's their belief, and that's why belief
Well,
is usually
and
played around in a
sometimes it
bad way.
depends on how it is, because sometimes we don't ever look at a belief and go, "Is this real to me?" Sometimes they're fed to us from when we're young, and that's
Totally.
just what we do. It's what the culture does, what our family does. It's just what we believe.
Yeah, and
My parents believe it, their parents believe it, so we believe it. I don't know if I truly believe it.
but you know what was cool though,
How many
dude?
kids sit back and really study it and go, is this what I believe? You
Yeah,
know?
no, totally. I mean, it's pushed so hard onto a lot of them, and I've seen a big change as of late because there's a lot of it's funny, there was a big swing of people leaving religions,
Hmm.
and then now there's been an uptick of people going back into religion, which is really funny. And it's cyclical because you watch throughout history, it's the same fucking cycle, dude. But the thing that really makes me feel bad for some of these people who are dogmatic is that they truly believe that they're doing something in love.
Well, it's anyone who's dogmatic, because
Yeah.
dogmatic is a closed, like one.
Yeah, this is it. This
This
is
is the
the
mindset.
truth. Yeah,
It's a
yeah, yeah,
closed
yeah.
mind. It's not having the ability to even think or like look at other perspectives or see other perspectives. It's just like, no, this is truth, and there's nothing outside of this truth.
Yeah.
But yet, when you look at life, there's so much that it's like unknown, and so many of the truths. It's like, well, what are you basing that on? Well, I believe what I feel. Okay, so truth isn't based on feeling.
And it doesn't have to be. That's what faith is. You can believe in
Yeah,
something that's not there.
but
And
then it's the struggle of like truth. It's like
well,
it,
that's that
it's okay
the
to have a
fallacy of truth.
belief
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
beliefs are based on feeling,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
no one can tell you that what you're feeling you didn't feel
Right.
because that's your feeling.
Of course.
But to go, hey, this feeling is true, and you need to follow my feeling.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not how it works. They're your
Dude,
feelings.
thanks for bringing that up because
That's why I have my feelings.
right, and that's actually kind of like something that somebody's gonna think this is messed up. I mean, if you're LDS and you're listening to this, you may get a little upset about what I'm about to say, but
I mean, if
I
they're
was
LDS and they're still here, I'm surprised this is the first time they'd get upset.
yeah,
So,
you know what? Fuck it.
you
All
know,
right, so thanks for pointing that out. I really do appreciate that.
it's not a big deal.
Yeah, no, but it
If they're
do.
here, they know we love them, and
Yeah,
fuck it, doesn't
yeah.
matter.
It's just one guy's opinion. Um, I was actually really excited to see all these people get divorced
Really?
and leave their faith. And the reason why. Oh, I love this. Hold on.
Well, I mean,
I'll tell you why.
are you talking about after COVID time?
No, during and
Yeah,
after.
yeah. Like as it all settled in, I thought it was good because I thought it was a lot of people who had been living. Let's hear your. Yeah.
Well, no, it was great because all these people were living a lie. They were living a lie. They weren't. They did the actions.
They weren't doing them because it's what they wanted to do.
They didn't know. They
Yeah.
had no identity. They
No.
did. They,
They
just
were
like what you
sheeple
said.
in
Well,
everything they did.
but because that was what was taught before to protect them, because during that time if you go back into history, of course they were going to do that to protect themselves because they were being hunted and they were being persecuted and killed for whatever reason that those people did, whether it was right or wrong is besides the point. So these early on in their history, they were taught if somebody's against us, they're going to kill us or they're really going to hate us.
Well,
So
that's why
we need to
it's
protect
us and
ourselves.
them is such a
Right.
big.
And that tragic thing that happened. Ooh, dude, this everybody in the church needs to just get on ketamine. Anyways, because like at least a dose, because I'm thinking about the neural pathways. So I've learned a lot about ketamine because of the place I work with.
Okay.
And so what ketamine does is you imagine you've got this road, right? And it's narrow. It's a one-way street. And
Are
as
you
you're
talking about like the electrical pathways or highways
yeah,
we
but
create within our mind?
what is actually creates that. So it's called glutamate. And glutamate, when it passes through, it's able to transfer that information for memory to be able to keep that stored. What happens is during something tragic, it's almost like a scar in the brain, all the way down to that like super tiny microscopic level, right? There's a scar there and it builds like almost like a scar tissue. I know I'm being very broad with this. So if you really understand the science of it, I'm breaking this down 6th grade. So what happens is that road, everybody's like this, it starts to get narrower and now it can't pass through. And then this loop stays within a memory block. It just stays in a memory loop. What ketamine does is exactly what you were saying before. It creates a new path for it to complete the cycle to get to the
So you
brain.
can complete your circuits without.
Yeah, so now the circuit is no longer broken. It just doesn't fix the problem. It just creates a new road. It creates a whole new path. and then it's able to do that. And the reason why, that's where
Weird.
that disassociative state comes from, because you're able to look at yourself in more of a third person, which I thought was hilarious because that's what cannabis does.
Yeah.
If you take enough of it, if you take
Or the right strain and
yeah,
terpene profile, you
but
can be
that's when higher doses are needed. If you want to put
yeah,
yourself into a in a I didn't want to say well, I was going to say psychosis, but a psychedelic
psychedelic state.
state, you would want to do that. Like, I've had that happen. You've had that happen.
I've
We
been
took
incredibly introspective and stuff. Like some of the best moments have
deep.
been just through cannabis.
Yeah. And what the thing that really is hard, that's why cannabis is used for PTSD. The glutamate is not being able to go over there. But what it does is these are almost like inflamed. These neural pathways are inflamed. Most of the illnesses that we have is all due
Or
to
yeah,
inflammation, right? A big part of it. Sugar causes
all through it.
inflammation,
Yep.
all
A
the other
lot of
thing. But
like
it's
wheat and like that
because of
stuff will
how the
cause
weed is grown
inflammation.
today,
Yeah. It
right?
didn't used to,
No, no, not
but
at
like
all.
it's just a lot of what we have now. And that's why we're so inflamed even through our like gut and digestive systems. That's why cancers are so prevalent. That's why like digestive issues are so prevalent.
Totally.
You know,
Like,
how many people do we know with Crohn's or GI issues or
I have been taking GI medication for GERD, or for those it's acid reflux. I've been taking that since I got out of the military.
yeah, you were saying it's a long ass time.
That's 25 years ago. And so, no, it's longer than that. Holy shit. Fuck, I'm old. Anyways,
You've been out of the military longer than 25 years?
yeah, because I'm 45,
When did you get out?
21. So
Oh
it's been,
shit.
yeah, 24 years.
Damn, bro.
24 years I've been on this medication. And because of Trulicity, and also going through it and being more self-aware through 12 shapes, I haven't been taking my medicine, dude. I don't take omeprazole at all. Only if I get a really bad flare, which is
Yeah.
rare. And I know what I'm doing. I eat and I lay down. Don't do that.
But your diet has changed and so
My
you
diet
notice
has
that.
changed, and I'm more aware of when I want to snack. I take this tool. It's not what it's intended for. It's what's cool. I can put it into anything, but I intend this tool. I'm like, yeah, but that you're only doing that because you want to feel something. Because that's what junk food, we want to feel
Yeah.
something. When you're high and you're feeling happy, you want happy food.
Yeah.
And happy food comes with problems. But it's
Yeah.
okay. You're willing to shit your guts out because it was so fucking tasty because of the flavors and the grease and the soda.
The salt or the
Oh
sugars
my
or the
god.
yeah.
It makes me want fries right now. But I don't eat those anymore. I can't
Yeah.
because it fucks me up. And what it's taught my body is it's allowed that. Plus with cannabis, like, dude, if you're taking this type of medication and you're not using cannabis, you are suffering for no fucking reason.
Well,
You,
but how many of them they just go to the doctor and they're like, "Well, I need a medicine for this side effect."
Zofran or some
And then they
shit like
take
that.
another medicine for the other side effects.
Right.
And then they're on 10 medications because it's like, well, I got to counterbalance this one and this one and this one. Instead of just like, hey, I've got one that I use sometimes when I actually need it. But, you know, if you chew Trulicity and cannabis, like how many other medications are you able to not have to use because you're supplementing cannabis to do
Well,
all of that other?
it's like when I went back on my anxiety medication. And, I'm glad that all these things happened to me to get me to that point because it got me to slow down. And my body was telling me that. Like, my endocannabinoid system was pushing me to get more cannabis into my system because I wasn't dealing with the issues that were going on. And it built up and built up and built up. And then it exploded into this panic state that and it's fucking funny, dude. Ever since that one summer where I started having panic attacks because I overconsume caffeine,
Yeah.
it's almost like every year it keeps coming up.
Maybe it's PTSD from that.
I think it is because it was terrifying. I thought I was
Yeah.
dying, and you remember, dude,
Well,
I thought I was dying all the
oh,
time.
yeah. So it's even Kyle.
Yeah.
Kyle, shout out in Texas. He's been saying, he has changed his relationship, his mindset. He is back to like enjoying cannabis again, back to actually using it. He had that same thing. He was like, oh, PTSD. I had had a bad experience. started having panic attacks, all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And that every time I would go to consume, that is what would come to my mind. That is what would trigger me. And that was what would make my experience bad.
Yeah, started
Or like
imprinting.
these other things. And it's like, and he sat back and realized, come a long way in his journey. We're going to have him on the show.
Yeah.
Should be an amazing episode.
Oh, it's gonna be great.
So, but yeah, it's just like the difference of that. And sometimes it is just our, and the book I'm reading, the Atomic Habits book,
Oh
and
yeah.
it makes sense with some of that. Like there's certain things that trigger certain things, and sometimes we don't notice that trigger that causes that.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, and even like it talks about like how your home is set up and stuff, and it's like, is your TV remote easy and accessible, or is like your controller easy and accessible? And I'm like, man, maybe I should put like my Kindle out more, or it's like, when you make your bed first thing in the morning, put your book on your pillow, so that's the first thing you do instead of like scrolling or doing something else. It's like, hey, I'm gonna hop in bed and I'm gonna read.
Yeah. And
Set yourself up for better habits just from even your environment, because like how many of us don't unintentionally set us up for failure, but we are, just the way our environment is set up,
yeah.
we are causing ourselves failure. And it was mentioning, hey, set the author was like, I used to send emails in at some point in my front room, but then I would find that I would not have a designated separation of time for work. And it's like, you need to set a specific location and a specific time
That makes sense.
for everything. At this time, at this place, I will do this. And they said that even they had 3 different test groups of like how they tested things. And the people that did that were like 91% of them were likely to do it,
Really?
versus the highest in like the other control groups were like 33%.
That's impressive.
And it's like, so setting yourself up for that is way more of like opportunity for success than just like, hey, I'm going to get this done.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm going to get this done today. And going, I'm going to do work. I'm going to get this work done at this time in the office. And they were like, I stopped doing emails in the front room. I started designating this time because they were like, I found if I put my phone away and was like, no, this time is designated for this, I will get this accomplished. They were way more productive. They were and it was easier to set these habits and to create them as a habit that forms and sticks. Because a lot of the time we set these habits and it's like, we don't see immediate results, whether it's the gym, whether it's a diet, whether it's whatever. And they're like, you think that with a habit, growth and trajectory looks like this, but it doesn't. With a habit, growth and trajectory looks like this. And it jumps up at the end and it's all of a sudden. And they're like, so you do these habits for so long, but then you're like, I'm not seeing the results. I'm not getting this out of it.
Yeah, I
So
get.
we stop and it's like,
Yeah.
oh,
No. I'm sorry. I was just like,
you're good.
no. It's really interesting you bringing that up because that's set and
Yep.
setting, right? I mean, with everything that you're doing, set and setting,
Yeah.
and I like that concept, and I don't do that enough. I work everywhere.
That was my issue too, is I would do work everywhere. So now I've been
Well,
trying to designate it to like, I work in the office at my desk,
yeah,
or
and I mean,
or sometimes here in the studio, but it's editing or something to do with like the show.
well, and even that, I mean, it's being able to know like what's important on that one. That's some of the things like what we will do to distract ourselves or we'll get caught up into something is because we're not self-aware. And when we talk about habits, and for me it's just vernacular because a word change to me is a big deal, right? Like I'm such a fucking nitpicky bag. Like if my wife says the wrong word in a slightly different tone,
Yeah.
other than she's just like doesn't fucking care and she's just answering me.
Yeah.
I read into it and I go, "What's going on? You upset?
Yeah.
Something going wrong?" And then I realize why I'm doing that and I'm not okay because I need some validation because she didn't respond to me in the way that I normally like.
And so you're worried that
Yep.
something's wrong now
And
because you
so
didn't.
but I
Yeah.
got I do that less and less now. It's becoming self-aware. So the idea of imprinting, if you understand that concept, like when you're young, you're being imprinted on, right? But I really don't believe that, because that means that you can never change from what you're imprinted on.
I think imprinting is just the initial. I still think you can change
But
from an imprint.
no, but it's the same thing. Like but with a habit's usually a negative connotation. I have a
Well,
bad habit. I
but you can have
smoke, I
really good
drink.
habits too.
Yeah, no, totally. But for me, the vernacular, and maybe for somebody else, the vernacular of habit is already a negative connotation. And
Oh,
that's why I've tried like Atomic Habits. Like I've read that
yeah.
twice.
Huh.
Never could apply it. Reason why, now realizing where I'm at, is because I want to be right. And that words affect me so much that I go, you said that wrong. I'm not going to follow it. That's reason why. So I change habit to imprint. And imprint is the same thing I would do when I would train in martial arts, when I would teach martial arts, is that you do repetitive action over and over and over and over and over, and know that pain brings progress, and that you will be better.
You know, the one thing that surprised me most, the habit that they mentioned that didn't even click in my head.
Hmm.
Leaving your phone in your pocket when you get home.
Yeah, I've been doing that less.
And I was like, shoot, yeah, that is a habit. Because then you're more likely to pull it out, to check it, to do all of these habits that it's like, well, this is here. It's a habit that I've created because it's the habit that's here.
Yeah.
Instead of like, hey, I'm home. I don't need to be attached to my cell phone. Like, I can set it down and no one's going to die.
Yeah. I mean, back in the day, growing up, like you grew up during the end of that era, but
Well,
you
like
know,
we had corded phones when I was
yeah,
first young.
yeah,
And
when
then
you were
we
real
had
young, yeah,
cordless, but that still was at the base usually
yeah, dude. I
or
remember
in the office.
all the way when I was living. I had a roommate, and we lived in American Fork,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a corded wall on the wall
Yep.
in our basement apartment. Like it was fucking crazy, because you think now, but dude, we remembered all the numbers.
Yeah.
And
I
if
had a
somebody
ton
didn't get a
memorized.
hold of you, they didn't get a hold of you.
Yeah. It was like, well, I'll try them later then. Or I left a voicemail and maybe they'll call me back.
Right.
But like, that was usually, I remember calling friends to play. They didn't answer. Well, I guess they can't play. I'll try them another day.
Yeah, I'll go figure out my shit,
Yeah.
right? And you think
That
about
was
that,
it.
dude. We weren't so connected to that point where we're so much more anxious now,
Oh, yeah.
because we feel this need that we have to constantly be connected. As it's a great tool, which is what it was intended to be, but all the things become perverse in their own time.
Well, it's like, I feel like if I have it on me and I feel a vibration, should I respond to it right away? Well, I felt it. I saw it.
That's the thing that
Do I need to take care of this right away? Well, why is that more important than what I was already doing?
Well, and the thing that it used to bug me, but now it's just more of an education thing. So now I'm very frank about it when I meet with somebody. But I would do, out of consideration, I would pull my phone out, and I put it flat on the table, and I don't care if it vibrates. I will not break eye contact with this person. I am here and I'm present. This is a visual aid to let you know that I am here to pay attention to you.
Yeah, I
And
just usually leave mine in my pocket.
now, I because when I've done it before, what's really cool, especially if it's somebody new and doesn't know me, when I do that and I put it down like this, they do it too. And if it'll vibrate, they'll look at it and they'll see mine vibrate, and I'll just keep talking to them, and then they quit doing it. And it's just holding space for somebody. And that's a problem that we have because of distraction.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's like, how many times do you have a conversation with someone and they get a notification and they're instantly distracted from the conversation from the notification?
Yeah.
And it's like you're instantly pulled out of whatever you're doing to, hey, you're not as important as this.
Oh,
And sometimes I understand, like it's an emergency, it's your partner, it's your child, it's whatever. But 99% of the time, I would wager that it's not dire
yeah.
in those moments. And we're just like, we're so trained now. Our
Yeah.
notifications are on. We got all of these things for all of these apps turned on. Crap, I don't want to miss social media. Like, how many people have every notification for every app on?
Oh, I turn off a lot of them.
Like,
Like, the only thing,
yeah,
well, you know what? It's really hard because, text message
yeah.
over there. But
People don't want to do it's hard.
you know what I've done for now? And again, it's becoming more self-aware has been the greatest tool for being able to keep these things from controlling. Now, it is a cure by no
No.
means.
When it doesn't happen every time. It's just
But I'm more
you're
cognizant of it
yeah,
now.
so sometimes you will catch that. And the more often you catch it, the more often you're to go, hey, am I doing this because I want to? Am I doing this because of whatever? And, that's how we become more aware and
Yeah.
either change our habits or our imprinting or whatever and go, how can I change this to be the better version of myself? And what type of habits or imprinting does this version of myself do? Because that is a very specific thing.
Yeah.
And the habits we have either make us or break us, and they keep us where we're at or they help us grow to the next stage.
Yeah. And the concept of imprinting, was developed a long time ago. And it's, has it evolved? Absolutely. But it's just saying that when you were young, you were the most impressionable. And
100%.
so it was easy to be able to teach you habits and things like that you
Because
could take on to
our
be
mind
good.
is in theta state until you're basically
Totally.
7 or 8.
Yeah.
But we are not really often in a theta state ever once we become older than that. And we're less and less in a theta state, and we don't train our brains to do it.
Yeah.
The meditation that I've been doing is one that trains you to go into theta every time. And that is through the Silvus Ultramind system.
Oh, that's right.
And so that was like in the meeting, I felt incredibly centered. I was just,
Yeah. You seem different. You were more confident and you're ready to talk and being able to hit good points. Cause I know it's, it's a muscle on that for sure. But a lot of it's just our bullshit.
yeah. And it
And
like all went away.
yeah.
And it was like,
And you were
so,
chill.
so that is the state that most children are in, but it's also easier to learn in. So if you could
Mhm.
train yourself to get back into the theta state more often.
That's why it's so easy for kids. That's why it's so easy, like, with Mormon missionaries or LDS missionaries, whatever. But most of the people outside of the church, it's just they're Mormons, right? So
Yeah.
let's
Because it's the
classify
only
that.
ones within it that are like, hey, we rebranded.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Everyone else just knows them as Mormons.
yeah.
That's it.
It's all good, and it's just a name. Chill out.
Yeah.
But the thing I was thinking about is that I remember I had this friend. I don't even think he's in the church anymore, but he he was the coolest dude I worked with at the state hospital. Like one of the coolest guys ever. But he went to a mission like in Bolivia in a place that nobody spoke English
Mm-hmm.
and it's all backwoods.
Oh,
Like
wow.
no run. I mean, there's like a faucet to fill up with water. That's how you would shower and cook and all that.
Oh, wow.
It was a
Okay.
community.
Yeah.
Like my dad grew up in a place like that.
Whoa.
Yeah, I
In
gotta go to that
Mexico?
home, yeah, to that home. It was an old home up
Wow.
on the
Is that where your
mountainside.
grandma's still at?
She's dead.
Oh, yeah, she did pass
Yeah, she's
recently. I
93.
forgot.
Nah,
Yeah.
that's cool. She lived a
It's like
long
grandpa. They
yeah,
live to a point and you're like, it's, you miss them, you love them, but you're like,
yeah, it was your
they
time.
lived their life.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
long life.
yeah.
At that time, everything starts to slow down. It's kind of funny. Like when you're young, everything just takes forever. And then
Doesn't
you
it
get to
though?
this thing, and then you get back to the end, and everything takes forever.
But there's this middle from like your 20s, 30s, probably through 40s and 50s, and
Yeah,
that time
even
just seems to
60s.
go so fast.
Yeah, so fast.
But then like COVID was the weirdest time because it was so fast, but
And
it's so
slow.
slow. Every day would
In your
seem
house.
forever, but then it would be like, it's been 6 months. What the fuck? Like, how has this been 6 months of that? Like,
Do you remember we would play the Division 2
oh yeah,
for hours? We played for
dude.
like 6 hours.
Yeah, it was what
We beat that game in 2
it
weeks.
was weird.
We played nonstop, and it's just because what else are you gonna do? You were
I was
convinced
so
that you had to stay in
nervous.
your home.
Yeah, for the first few weeks, like because I didn't know anything about it. And so I started reading and researching, and then I researched like how they were testing, like what was in the actual like what the hell the injection? I can't think
Yeah,
what
yeah,
they
yeah.
called it. Um,
The formulation.
yeah, but and I was looking at everything and reading that and researching it. And I'm like, all the data in this doesn't support it. Why is this being? And so then it was like I started having get-togethers with friends because before it was like, shoot, I don't want to kill anyone I love. I don't want a chance that anyone I love dies if that's truly what this is. And then as I started researching, it was like,
Yeah.
if people are okay, I'm like, let's get together. Yeah, for their comfort, we'll sit 6 feet apart, but we're gonna hang out in my backyard. We're gonna smoke. We're gonna have a barbecue. We're gonna, we're all gonna hang out. Fuck it. And we'd start doing that, and then we'd start hanging out more, and then it was like, there's no data behind this that supports this.
Yeah, it's a variant of the influenza virus.
Yeah. And then it was like, what they were testing for wasn't even, it would be like, oh, they claim this is what shows it, but yet it wasn't even high enough levels to actually locate or like anything. And I'm like, this is a bunch of garbage. And they're shutting down our entire world for this. Like, this is affecting everyone.
Dude, that just points out, man, what's the most powerful thing in this world? It's your
Fear?
words.
Oh,
Words can create fear, happiness, doubt,
yeah. Well, it's
right?
the thoughts
Anger.
too. Yeah.
It's so it's like there's this guy at my church, and he is just leading this discussion, and it was really funny how he talked about, oh fuck, I just lost what I was gonna say.
That's okay.
That
Maybe it'll
sucks.
come back.
Yeah. Anyways,
But when like we talked about it yesterday on the phone, it's just, when your thoughts, if you can continuously think a certain type of thought, you will change your feeling.
yeah, totally.
So, you can change that and work on that. And even though, you might have someone else who they say something and whatever it is, it triggers something inside of you. And obviously, most of us in that moment aren't sitting back and going, why is this triggering me? What is triggering? Like, what is actually going on in me?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's an automatic response and usually an emotional response at that point. But, like, if you could stop in that moment, see what your brain is thinking, change what your brain is thinking, you would find in that moment your emotion would change.
Totally. And the way I look at like self-improvement or whatever you want to classify it as it's like a martial art. And
It's a practice.
well, but the thing
Yeah.
that's what you need at first whenever you're trying to be able to find something that helps you to be grounded. That's why there's so many different systems of martial arts. That's why there's so many different systems of self-help.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their own flavor, and it's finding the one
Even
that
within
makes
meditations, there's
totally
walking meditations, sitting meditations, quieting the mind meditations, like
exactly.
gratitude meditate. Like, there's certain types depending on the intent. And some intent, it's like, this is great for this. This is
Right.
great for this. Probably same with like martial arts. There might be certain ones that are better for
Well,
specific things. There
yeah,
might
but
be,
that's
or maybe moves within that
no, no, no,
martial
no, no.
art.
You're
That
you're on
it's
the
like,
right path, and that's what I'm saying. Like one of the things that you need to be able to do, though, what I found a lot of success with is that if you take such as like a martial art, you can't just start throwing everything at you. You can't one day be this amazing striker that goes to jiu-jitsu, then that
oh
goes
no, it
to.
starts at the beginning.
You've got to pick something and get good at that. You can supplement it, but it can't be a part of it. And that's why everything, if it's siloed, because I've tried to do that. I'll take a bit of this, I'll take a bit of that, and I'll see if it's going to work. And it doesn't, because I don't put anything on me. That's the one thing that I notice about a lot of these systems is that follow my recipe and you will achieve this. But instead of going, here are some tools, let me show you how to use these tools. Okay, use this tool like this. If it doesn't work out, give me a call. That's it. That's pretty much what it is. And then you can go into it. That's why I've been pulled to it, because for my mind, it's always thinking of complex things. And when it's simple, it's easy. And now I can make it repetitive. It's the same as martial arts. The more complex the move, the more you start to realize that it's just fluff. That's
Most
why,
of it's not needed. Yeah.
well, it's like guys like Jay Shetty. I'm gonna call him out right now. We should even put that in our hashtags, Jay Shetty. Go fuck yourself. But but seriously, like it's people like that where, all he's trying to do is build up false confidence. Now, have people found success in this system? I'm sure they have.
Like
I think
every
it's
system.
great. Totally.
Every system has its benefits or people who find value,
But that's the problem, is a lot of these systems become dogmatic, and no other system is as good as ours. And I've seen this in the sales
Isn't
world.
almost every system that way, though? Like almost
But
every system is like,
it
hey,
comes down to the
ours
mindset of
is
the
better.
practitioner.
Yeah, but most of them that are out there, it's like, but it's that competition. Because if theirs isn't the best, then
Well, but that's the idea that's fabricated by the person who creates the idea, because they go, "I am the best," and if I am
what I
lesser,
created,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, look
this
how
is the shit,
omnipotent I am, right? I mean, it's so weird that they have to be
before me.
right. Exactly.
Peasants.
Yeah. you were made in the darkness. I was born there,
Yeah.
but he
molded by the darkness. Oh my god. Side tangent. Have you guys ever seen the
I
College
love that.
Humor Batman or Badman?
Oh yeah, I love that.
The Bane one. I stabbed you first with my dick.
Where do I where do I was it? He's like, oh, he's all got the panties.
Yeah.
He goes,
Which one of these tubes do you smell out of?
now you have my permission to cry.
If you haven't seen those,
Oh, they're
it's
awful. They're
worth
fucking hilarious.
checking
Get
out.
it going.
It is awful.
Next to cannabis, laughter is the best medicine.
Right?
No, laughter's above cannabis. But
Yeah,
you know
it
what?
is.
They actually go hand in hand.
Yeah, they really do. They go very well together. It's a fantastic pairing. And some strains make you way more giggly than others, but
But you know the other thing too about it is like it's depending on the cannabis you're using too. When we went to Joe Rogan, I felt cheated. I think we should have like fucking hotboxed in our car before we went in there.
yeah.
Those edibles fucking sucked.
Well, edibles I don't
They were
normally feel
chill.
super high
Yeah.
anyway.
That sucked. Because it was funny, but then when my high started to go away,
You were just more like, yeah.
and then I go, wait a minute, I've heard that joke before. Hey, you said you'd never repeat your jokes. Fucking liar! How dare you? How dare you? He used to say that shit all the time. That's fucking funny.
That's funny.
My brother always laughs at me. You know what my brother has me in his phone? Joe Rogan. And that's before we even did the podcast.
Oh, that's
Because he's like,
hilarious.
you're a short, bald guy. You're a bit of a meathead. He's like, that's what you're like. I'm like, dude, I am nowhere as extreme as that
that's
individual.
hilarious.
He's very extreme, and hats off to him. That's pretty impressive. Oh, it didn't even come out. Anyways, where was it?
Yeah, you'll need that little tool maybe. Sometimes I find that's the best way to just scrape it out or something.
Oh no, perfect. Yeah, I
like this black amber. This
dude,
is
it's
really
such a nice conversational
Yeah.
piece, and it just makes you feel good. But you can be clear on your thoughts. Your eyes, they will deceive you
Yeah,
because they will be red. I guarantee it.
yeah, this one's a dragonfly grow. So if you guys are here in Utah, go get some Betty or some Dragonfly Wellness, some of this
Black amber.
Black amber.
If you can, this thing sells out fast.
If you're not in Utah, get some black amber anyway.
Yeah.
Find that.
Oh,
It's fantastic.
I love it. I love the
Great strain.
petrichor smell. I like all of it, dude. It was as soon as I took that first drag, I'm like, yeah, I remember you, and that's pretty cool. It's like a love affair.
Yeah, right.
Right.
It's like, oh, hey, what's up, baby?
It's
You're
like
back.
that. It's like that one person that you had, and I say person so you can live in the third person. I don't want to name the person, right? But
Yeah,
it's like that one.
Gotta close your eyes and go back into
Yeah,
the dream.
it's like you
Just
take
bank,
yourself
bank.
back to that feeling when you had then. You really can't relive it now because then it would just be weird and awkward. But you'd be like, why the fuck did I say that? But there's those moments where it's just like you have this like only like a short period of time of connection, and it's so visceral.
Strong and, yeah.
Yes, it just imprints on you.
Yeah.
And that's how the black amber feels. It just feels so
It's a good friend.
unique.
It's like, welcome back.
It is that friend, right?
Yeah.
It's the friend that you know, everybody knows. Oh, I know. It was like when I was in Australia when I was a kid in the Navy, and I started fucking around doing my horrible Aussie accent. But we were drunk at the MGM in Darwin, and we're sitting at this table, and this woman's over there, and I'll say, "Hey, yeah, I'm just gonna stay," and it mixes back and forth from Welsh, especially if I'm drunk.
I can imagine.
It was pretty bad. See, people go to New Zealand, are they?
Yeah.
But
South African.
when I was in South African, yeah, hey,
You get like all over the place.
yeah,
Like, all right,
especially when I'm
shit.
a bit inebriated.
Yeah.
It's so delicious. That's why I'm like waiting. I want to put it in there. But anyways, my weird tangent there.
Yeah, 100%. It tastes like the smell of rain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's wonderful. But that's the thing that I love about learning on how to be more self-aware. And I like that there's so many people out there and so many systems, from meditations to a whole system of life to a tool. You have this massive variety, and one is not better than the other. One can completely change your life, and I can see why you would want
It
to tell
depends on what
everybody.
it is. Some might be better for certain things than others, but it just depends. The problem is everyone, kind of like endocannabinoids, their system, endocannabinoid system, everyone is different. So kind of like you, where words don't work, certain words put you off. So you could read Atomic Habits a million times and it might not click because, well, they're using the wrong words for you. So, again, there's methods for every person. And it's just finding, because again, there's a million and one out there.
Yeah, it's like, I went through Sandler training a long time ago. And Sandler Training is a professional business school that teaches you how to sell professionally. And it's been used by all the large companies, from Toyota, LinkedIn. These companies use this sales system to grow their companies. However, it was created in the 60s and it's improved a little bit because they've changed the names of certain things, but it's still the same process. They used to do this
Oh,
thing like
yeah.
a submarine, and
Or a dick.
you take the client through the submarine.
Yeah.
No, fucking them, but it
Yeah.
was kind of fucking them, because what it would be is the first part is bonding and rapport.
So
That's
tie him down, build some rapport.
well, and then
Yeah.
what happens, why it was a submarine, is that in a ship, if you start taking water, you close off that section
Yeah.
and it won't fill up it won't get the rest of the ship full unless it's really big thing. And if it's in a submarine, you absolutely have to shut it off. It doesn't matter who's left behind, they're dead.
Yeah.
And so the idea is that you go through this door with me. We did bonding and rapport, right? Now we're going to go pain, budget, and decision. This is where we're at in the submarine. If we leave bonding and rapport and they say you have to do it all the time, but they shut the door to that, you can see where the problem lies.
Yep.
And then you get to,
So you stop bonding, you stop
yeah,
building rapport.
now I'm all after, I want to know how much money you have.
Yep.
I want to know who makes the decisions. And I want to know why your pain is so bad. I hate that word pain, because it's not pain. You know what pain is?
Yeah. Yeah, I do.
Yeah, no lube. That's what pain is, right? I
That
mean,
too.
that's it's like that's why everybody jokes around about it. Like, yeah, they fucked me on my taxes. They didn't even use lube. That sounds painful.
Yeah, it
It's
does.
exactly what
Gums
it
you
is,
dry,
right? But it's so.
coming out crying.
Ugh, I'm gonna get PTSD from that. But
Sorry for anyone at home getting flashbacks.
yeah, for sure. But I blame the cannabis. Looking for a way to be able to better yourself. That's why I've been such a huge proponent. That's why Brandon's been such a huge proponent of people trying cannabis. Like, it is such a uniter of people in the most relaxed way. And you can really be like, we saw your neighbor this morning who was on our podcast.
Yeah, Barry.
Dude,
Barry and his wife. They're like the nicest people.
but the cool part is that, you know what? If they would have continued to have the stigma of what, I mean, look at both of us over there. Like, you look well put together with your cannabis socks. They didn't see your cannabis socks. I
No,
got
even if they
my
did.
tats all over my arms and stuff like that. Like, I look like some random, like, most people would make a judgment call real quick.
Well, when my hair was long, or I wear something different, and especially when I dress like a hobo, when I wear my like bummy clothes, I feel like I get
Do
looks
you
around
still have
here.
your Aladdin pants?
Yeah, but I don't know if I ever wear them.
You should wear them on the show.
I'll have to one episode. Yeah,
I'll wear my Hawaiian
they're
shirt.
so fucking cozy though. They're so yeah.
It's like a winter thing?
No, they're super thin. Like, they're not super thick. It's just more of a. I would call those my
Sensory pants.
no, my drug pants. It's
You-
more like,
You
oh
hide drugs in it?
no, more like, hey, I'm going to do a full trip of shrooms. I'm going to put on these pants. Hey,
Yeah,
and
that would be cool.
they're cozy, they're really flowy, they're pretty big, so it's like, yeah, it's just nice. But I don't wear them often because it's like, yeah. But they are funny. Like, I do wear them every once in a blue moon.
Dude,
Pretty sure I have. Maybe I
I've got a
don't.
Hawaiian shirt that I've had forever.
Mm-hmm.
I've had it, 24 years.
Holy shit, that's wild. And it still looks good.
It's still in my closet. It's the one my wife and I met when I was wearing that.
Damn.
When I was a supervisor, I'd wear like funky clothes and shit. I didn't care because I worked in a mental hospital. I mean, what
Yeah.
the fuck? Either they think I'm one of the patients or I'm one of the staff. You'll never know. But it was awesome, dude. It was great. I mean, the majority of my time over there, and that's where a lot of self-help came from, because I was with these people for 10 years.
Yeah, that's
And
a
it's
long time.
really tragic. And it just goes to show, like, everything that I saw in that hospital, I see every fucking day on YouTube. But these people are said they're normal.
Yeah,
No, these people are in need of help. I don't see crazy
probably.
people as fucking crazy people. I see them
No,
like,
they're
you need help.
people who just need some help. Yeah. Most of the time, it's like there's so much shit going on in their mind and everything else. They just need help, and no
My
one's
high
there.
ass.
That's funny in your hand. No one's there
Where are my
helping them.
keys? We're going to have Richard Dimitri on this podcast. Richard Dimitri is a well-known personal self-defense martial artist. Created
Oh,
a
that
system
guy
in
you
the
were talking about.
90s.
Okay.
We're
Yeah.
going to have him on the pipe. Known him for a long time, only through social media.
MySpace days.
Yeah,
It worked.
MySpace. It was crazy. You
That's a
know,
long time.
and I had a really good friend. What was his name? Jeff? What was the guy that you got friends
Oh,
with at the first?
who was it? Who
Was it like
created?
Jeff or Mike or
I
something?
don't remember.
I don't know, but it's that dude.
Tom.
Tom!
Or was that the Facebook one?
No, that was Tom.
I thought Tom was Facebook.
Tom was MySpace because you got this picture of this dude.
Yeah, and it was like your first friend when you
Yeah,
joined.
yeah,
and
yeah,
It was like
that's
everyone's
MySpace.
first friend.
Yep,
Yeah,
that's him.
I thought it was Facebook. It was like I had MySpace at the beginning, and then Facebook started, and I got that one, and it was way too long ago.
You know that they passed. I think that's the story. I'm not sure. So take this with a grain of cannabis. But the MySpace was. They had an opportunity to buy Facebook early on, and they turned it
Really?
down.
I don't know if I heard that. That would be wild if so, because they were big, and then Facebook came in, and it just like MySpace just went away. Yeah. Oh, but those were so funny. Did you have Oh, you did have a MySpace.
Hell yeah, I had a MySpace.
Did you have like the customized music that would start playing when your page opened?
No,
and shit?
that shit used to drive me fucking insane. Well, and because at the time when I was at work, like this was a new time for us. I mean, no way. Computers had already been implemented. That's how back in the day I used to do medical notes for like every single patient we had to chart.
Yeah.
I
you
would
did
get
paper ones.
yeah, and this big ass
Oh,
chart,
shit.
pull it out, open it up, and then we'd fill out their behaviors.
I mean, my first jobs were like, training table when I worked there and was managing and ordering stuff. All of that was paper stuff. I feel like now it would be all tablets. It's such a different time with some things.
Way
that it's like,
different. But
I don't know.
it's oh man.
What was your first job?
Chuck E. Cheese.
What? You worked at Chuck E. Cheese?
Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese. Chuck E.
No
Cheese was my
shit.
first gig, dude. I remember my dad had.
Did you dress up as Chucky?
Yeah.
No shit.
Yeah. You were actually required.
Dude, that's hilarious.
We would all have to take turns.
The one here in Orem?
Yeah, that used to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jesus. I wonder if you were there when I was ever there, like when I was, because you're 8 years older than me.
Yeah, so I was there when I was 16.
Yeah, so I would have been like 8 years old.
Yeah,
There's a possibility.
Yeah,
that
the
you
possibility
worked
your family was in there, dude.
and you're like, who are these fucking little annoying kids?
You know what though, dude? During that time, like I held my job for a while until I had this rule with them. I said, look, I have certain classes after my kung fu classes that I took. I was like, every Tuesday and Thursday, I can't work. Any other day I can work.
Yeah.
Including Sundays. So just let me know. And he's like, okay. And he was this Saudi Arabian guy. His name was Sadiq. He was a fucking asshole. I keyed his car after they fired me. They fired me and this other guy because I told them, I said, don't ever schedule me for a Tuesday or Thursday. I will not be here.
Yeah.
I said, as far as I know, just tell me the hours I'm supposed to be here and I'll be here. And I did every single time. And then it was a Tuesday.
And he scheduled you on a Tuesday.
And I didn't know.
Yeah.
So I went kung fu and then I came back the next day, right? The beauty of being connected now, you get to live a full night thinking you have a job.
Right. Yeah.
Right? I would rather do that instead of somebody going, hey, dude, I saw an email of somebody and I was just letting you know that people are talking about firing you.
And you guys might be getting let go or this whole department is, yeah.
Yeah, you better start looking for another job.
Oh, yeah.
Bring the lube.
Yep. Well, it's funny because my first job, I got let go too, but I had been there for 2.5 years.
Oh.
And I
didn't make it that long.
I was a manager.
Oh, that's right.
And there was a French kid, and he was like twice my age, and he was frustrated because we started at the same time, and he was still a fry cook and I was a manager, and I was like 17, and he was pissed, and um,
Because he was older than you?
he was pissed because I was good at my job. I got promoted. We started at the same time, and he was still doing the stuff that I was when we started, basically.
Fucking monster.
And I know. And so it was during my shift, and some friends of the assistant manager of the store had come in, and they put food on his
Oh.
tab, and I didn't know because his sister was also working, and his sister was also a manager. And so she had rung it up on their thing, but the French, because it was my shift and I was the running manager of that shift, the French guy had seen it happen. So he told the regional manager, and because it was my shift and someone took free food on that guy's account, I got let go from it. And I was so annoyed because like they wanted me to manage the store, but I was like, I don't know if I can actually like do full-time management, like because I was going into college. And I was like, I don't know if I can full-time college and full-time manage this, but I could be like a part-time manager still. I just, to be the main manager is I have to be there 40 plus hours every week. I can't do that right now while I'm doing school. So it was just,
Dude, that's crazy. So you would do that.
yeah.
You'd run the shift.
I was so when I came in, I
That sounds
decreased labor
crazy to me,
cost.
dude. That's awesome.
But I've always done that. I've always like when I came in, I decreased labor cost. I got like employees were way happier. I would do work too. So I would go in and it would be like, cool, we'd get out 5 minutes after we closed. Like, because I would have everything done clean because it would be so good. It would be like, all right, things were either still at just the very end of the busy time or it was like just trickling off of that. And I would jump on and help other people. And I'm like, hey, can I have you do this job? And I'd start having them do closing jobs at that time.
Yeah, to be able to get everybody out
And
on a
so it
better
would,
time. Yeah.
and the people who were there loved it because they're like, yeah, I don't have to stay late. So, and late business loved it because it was like, yeah, labor costs are low. And like, I was super efficient because I grew up with my parents working and working my butt off
Mm-hmm.
and just like running and doing stuff. So it was just, this is what you do. So I was a manager at like 16, 17.
Yeah.
And then from there, my next job getting hired on was an assistant manager because I'd already managed. And so I do the same stuff. And it would just like, I'd come in and because it's looking at processes and how things are done, like we can start this, we can do this. Like simple changes make huge differences in the long run. And it's like, it's not that hard to come in and analyze and like, yeah, you can change this, you can do this, you can do this. Like, let's make these simple changes.
Mm.
Everyone ends up happier. Like, and things run better.
Yeah. Caring about your people. I mean,
It
who
makes a
fucking
big
figured,
difference.
right?
Yeah. Well, I had a kid from Timpview that was there when I was, and he was in the same band class as Curtis, and he was in the same English class as me. But because he hated Curtis, he hated me.
Well, that makes sense.
So he would pick on me, he would bully me at school, and then all of a sudden, he gets a job down at training table. And you always start as a busser,
Uh,
and I was a manager. So he's trying to give me shit and like be a dick. And I was like, go clean the bathrooms, go take out the garbages, go clean the grease trap. And I was like, you can try and be an asshole, and I'm going to make your life suck. Or you can not be a dick, and I'll treat you like everyone else. And he grew up, stopped being an asshole, and I stopped making him do all the shit. I'm like, it's fine to disperse, and everyone does a little bit. Like, but
yeah.
I also worked. It was like I always led by example. I mean, you saw when you came on sales stuff, and it was like, here, let me give this to you. Let me show you how to do this, and I'll just give this to you.
Yeah.
Because, like, you just lead with example. You show them how to do it. You are in doing all the same shit, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, dude, that sounds fucking tragic. Like, I mean, it was invested and you wanted to do it. Like, I had no fucking desire to be there. my dad's like, get a job, right? So I got a job.
I didn't want to have a job
Oh no, but I
at the
mean, but
beginning.
you took pride in what you did. And that's cool. That's really cool because a lot of people don't take pride in what they do. Every job out there has honor in it. You are doing something like, dude,
Yeah.
you know what was crazy? Like, okay, for instance, the reason why my medications wasn't going through is because of insurance, right?
Yeah.
I talked to the insurance, and when I did, I talked to these women, and they were already in a bad mood. And I was just like, I kept telling them, say, hey, I really appreciate you being here. And at the end, they were so nice and willing to do more for me. And they're just like, no problem. Like there was this part, like it's because I have diabetes. Then they call me and they say, hey, you need to get an eye appointment. Would you like to schedule it on your own, or would you like us to do it for you? And I'm like, you know what? This person probably has a job, but that's all they do. And they fucking hate it because it's lame.
Yeah. It
Look, it's a
feels
minute.
tedious, or
Yeah.
it's like it's just a job. I'm just here doing it.
Yeah. I'm here to do something because I need to make money. And it's not a passion. It's nothing
It's because
great.
most people in customer service
Right.
are treated like shit by the other
Right.
people.
But a lot
That's
of times
why.
it's that idea. And that's why, like, I make it a point to make sure that I thank everybody that works with me, even if I had to wait in line for 45 minutes or I had to wait for a table for an hour and a half, whatever
Well,
I'm willing to endure.
because you
It's
think
not their
you're
fault.
waiting,
Yeah.
but that means they
Are
are
trying to get you there.
crazy busy
Yeah.
in whatever's going on to even try and get you in
Mm-hmm.
to that place in the first time. And sometimes it's like, we see it, and like I see some people just rip into it, and it's like, why does it take so long? You can see they're short staffed. You can see there's like
Dude,
3 people running this entire place.
they are performing magic.
Yeah.
They went and created this meal in minutes for you. And if it's minutes, it's literally like a half hour. That's minutes. Back in the
Yeah.
day, you had to raise the cow and then slaughter the cow and then cut it up and then divvy it out and then make money off of it. You kept very little of it. If you were raising them, you weren't always fat on meat. Meat was how you made money.
Yeah.
That's how you sustained your life. So it's
You can't get high on your own supply.
exactly, and so it's just so funny, man. I don't even know how we got here.
That's okay. It's just a random.
I like this though, dude.
Sesh.
This is cool. No, because
This
that's what a
is-
sesh is. Like how many times we sat with people and we just go off on random shit.
I don't know. I feel like this is just like our daily conversations anyway.
Yeah.
Hey, we're on the phone.
Yeah, we just
smoking
talk.
a little bit, and it just kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah,
So,
goes all over the place. We agree, we disagree, we agree to disagree.
yeah.
And it's totally cool because it's just a perspective. That's why I think that's why it's been so easy for us to continue doing this, even though that this isn't a living. And a lot of people will only do this because it's a living for them. Like, what do I do that's going to give me in return? But the cool thing is, brother, is that what we've done is we've given a lot of our time. We've given a lot of time learning about all we can about cannabis. I mean, you go back and listen to the first episodes. We are nowhere near that. I've gone back and listened to some of them. They're hilarious because it's almost like looking at pictures of me when I was a kid. I'm like, shit, my beard wasn't this gray. It was a lot darker.
Oh man. Yeah,
Yeah.
that'd be wild to go back and watch the beginning ones.
Right? Like I
Yeah.
have dark brown hair, like almost black, and
Holy shit.
that's why I don't like having hair on my head. Just I have shaved my head for
You
over
just
20
got that
years.
peppery hair now. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'd be fucking gray. I
Huh.
would be mostly gray.
That's
And
nuts.
if you see here, like
Yeah.
that's what my head would be like.
I believe it.
And it'd be weird though. It'd be really strange, right?
Yeah, I mean, I can't imagine you with hair now. No.
No, but I mean, we've gone through so much in creating this, and we don't do it for ourselves. I mean, well, wait, hold up. We do enjoy smoking all this weed.
We actually have a blast getting
Yeah,
together and
it's awesome.
smoking.
Because sometimes this is and a lot of times this is the only way that we actually get to see each other face to face.
Yeah, we
because
hang out doing this.
We've got shit tons going on in our lives, trying to figure other shit out, just like you guys. When you guys are trying to figure out money and work and all that other stuff, we're with you. We're totally with you, and we have learned a lot. Being in our financial situation, it's okay because we also see that this isn't forever, and this is just right now, and that's okay. and look for the positive things that are going to keep going towards a better tomorrow. That's all you can hope for, is a better tomorrow. But if you're doing things to get there, then you're going to do all right. It's just that repetition you were talking about with
Yeah,
a
the
habit,
daily habits. What are
right?
you
This
what are you doing? What Because that's what creates our life. And it's like, it sucks, but yesterday's habits are what creates today's moment,
mhm.
today's reality. So, if you can create better habits today, you can have a better reality tomorrow and have that, like, you know,
Yeah, and it's not to say that you can't, like, the one thing I wanna say about, 'cause I've said nothing but amazing stuff about 12 Shapes, but the one thing, the drawback is that, you have to be a willing participant. No, 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 I can't say willing. You need to be a driven participant. This needs to be a purpose for you. There needs to be a big reason to do that, and if you do it, you can get a lot out of it. However, if you don't use it, it's just like everything else. You'll never know it works unless you apply it.
well, it's like reading, how many books have you read?
Oh
And
my
then it's like,
god.
okay,
Yeah.
well, what applied knowledge is from there? How many times do you go back and reapply that knowledge? Some, yes. The
But it
other
works
ones,
for some people,
no.
right?
Yeah. Well, and that's just it. It's the same with habits, and that maybe there's a certain way or a methodology or, thing to implement that might help you in that habit.
Totally.
And there might be a totally different method or thing to do with your other one, like that might work with someone else. So, even like they said habit stacking. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. Because,
Oh,
like,
that's
oh, hey,
cool. That's a
in
cool
the morning when
concept.
you brush your teeth or you do coffee or whatever it is, hey, when I do coffee, when I sit down to do this, I'm going to write out my to do list for the day. I'm going to do this after that.
Oh,
I'm
that's
going to,
cool.
and you habit stack. So when I do this, I will do this.
Yeah.
And so you can, and that is supposed to be easier for some people to do it because
Mm.
it's instead of going at this time, at this place, I will do this. It's, you know, after this, when I'm doing this habit, right after I will do this.
Yeah.
Hey, when I'm done working at my desk, I will stand up and do 10 push-ups right at my desk.
Yeah, I like that. And you see the way you explained it there, like the word habit can get into there. I think the negative connotation, and I'm going back from a fear state, because that's me in a fear state. If I'm saying like, oh, I don't like that word, and that's why I didn't
Yeah.
use it. But now thinking back, why is that? Well, I've got a sister who's been addicted to drugs
She's got
for
bad habits and
most her whole
yeah.
life. My mom's had bad habits. My dad's had bad habits. I've only
Well,
heard, like,
all of
when
us
it comes to the
have bad
word.
habits, but then you think about what good habits do you have? Well, I get up every morning at this time. I take a shower, I brush my teeth, I put on deodorant, I feed myself regularly. I have all of these other habits that are good. There's just some habits because every 90% of our life is unconscious, and that is because it's habits. Some are good, some are bad. That's all it is. But because most of it is unconscious, we have to train our unconscious to go, hey, this is just something that's wired. Maybe it's not good, maybe it's not bad, maybe it's just something that's wired this way because it's been inbred in me from since I was a kid.
Well,
Since
yeah.
this, and then it's like, there's just maybe this isn't not that it's a bad habit, but maybe this isn't the best habit
Well,
for me.
that's when it comes down to nurture or nature, right? So there are both of them. So there are things like that, that there are things about you that are wired, that doesn't get imprinted on you or anything. They're just wired that way. Like the way you act, the way you do certain things, the way you chew your food. Like I got a nephew who chews food like a fucking mouse, and it drives me insane.
Like a mouse? Oh, that's weird.
Like, I mean, he like moves them like this, and he did it when he was a little kid, and it was
Okay.
adorable then.
Yeah.
Now he's 18, graduated high school.
You're like, that shit's weird.
He looked.
Growing
It's like
up
a
all the
little.
time,
Yeah.
Alec would
Oh
and
no!
and I would
I will
it
fucking
would
murder
yeah,
somebody.
it would drive me nuts. And so there's times that um Emily will chew or someone will chew and they'll do that. I'm like, or Addie, and I'm like, honey, will you chew with your mouth closed?
Oh my god.
And I'll say that because I'm like, oh my goodness, that is one thing I really struggle with. It's like roundabouts or Utah Driver. I don't struggle with roundabouts. I struggle with watching people try and drive through roundabouts. Um, that's one of my other things, and I'm like, oh man, I don't like smacking, lip
Yeah.
smacking.
Oh, dude, I had a girlfriend who she liked to eat carrots and she would chew with her mouth open. This is
Nope.
fucking Mr. Ed next to
Nope.
me. And
Yep.
every time she'd do it, I would hate her. Like, I mean, I
Right?
can go back and I'm
In that
recalling
moment,
memory.
you're like, oh my God.
I'm
I
a
hate
very
you so
loving
much
person
right
now.
now.
I love almost everybody I meet. And if I don't love you, I just go, well, live your life. Godspeed. But her,
Well, what other
I
drug would God do aside from speed? Do you
I
think?
don't know. We can even
God's
say
cocaine.
no. It's
God's ketamine.
there's a cool YouTube channel. Holly, we should share it here too. There's a cool YouTube channel, shorts that they explain like nomenclature that we use today and where it came from. So do you
Okay.
know where honeymoon came from?
Mm-mm.
So when you used to get married, this is England, all this other places, but it's more of like a Viking tradition.
Okay.
You would get honey wine, mead,
Okay.
when you first get married,
Yeah.
and you were supposed to drink it. You and your spouse, you and your wife, you and your husband
On,
would
like, the
drink it
first
for a full
moon.
first month.
Oh,
You would
wow.
drink this like every
That must
day.
have been a lot of mead.
Well, and what it was supposed to do is promote fertility and promote good health,
Oh.
and you would do it for a full moon cycle.
Huh.
So
Honeymoon.
moon.
Interesting.
Crazy, huh?
That's wild.
Because
Right.
that name doesn't make any fucking sense.
Do you remember what you were saying before I took you off of the God's choice of drug?
Godspeed.
Yeah, but where your tangent was going with that before I took that off.
That
I
is now gone.
apologize.
That
Sorry,
neural
guys.
pathway has ended.
It hit a dead end.
No.
At home, we love you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for helping us, get to where we're at. And
Yeah, take care.